All right, folks, we have a great actor on with us now talking about a whole list of films that he has coming up, some different projects that are coming on. He's got a new film that's coming out October 10th. That's tomorrow. If you're listening to us online, it's called The Addicted. It is a thriller that's coming out, as well as next week we have another film coming out called The Best of Me. And, of course, for those of you that are fans of the Divergent series, he's also part of Insurgent, which comes out in 2015. Welcome, Hunter Burke, to the show. How are you doing, Hunter?
Doing well, doing well. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, I appreciate you fitting us in. You're a busy man. You got a lot of stuff going on, brother.
It's all good things, and you kind of learn to live with that. So, perfect.
Well, let's get right to this first one. It's kind of a racy drama thriller kind of thing called Addicted. Tell everybody a little bit about the film, and then kind of touch on what your role is.
Sure. It's let's see. Addicted is about Sharon Neal's character, who is a housewife, a mother, and she kind of starts to feel these strange desires, but we later come to find out she's got a sexual addiction, very, very racy. And in the film, I play one of her assistants. Who is there, I believe she is an art distribution person. She kind of contracts with artists to show their work in galleries. And, I kind of help out with that.
Well, how racy is this film? Obviously, I guess it's rated R, right? So I guess it's not going to be one of our family-friendly nights out. But
No, this one's definitely for the adults. It's kind of on par. When I read the script, I was surprised at how much they were getting away with, considering they were probably shooting for an R rating. But I'm sure it'll fit somewhere in between what they're going to do for 50 Shades of Grey. So it's kind of along those lines. It's some drama, some steaminess. It's definitely an adult night out at the theater.
Well, that opens tomorrow, October 10th in theaters, folks. Make sure you check that out. That's called Addicted. Hunter's a busy man, though. We got a lot of things lined up. He's in a film called The Best of Me. That actually opens next Friday, October 17th. And this is an interesting one. I think it's going to do very well. Some of the early reviews have already started to come in on this. And this is a high school sweetheart film. They come back to their small town. They kind of get back together. James Marsden's in this. Michelle Monaghan. This is a really good film, Hunter. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, it's great. We had the premiere on Tuesday night of this week, and it's got an incredible cast, an incredible director behind it. The producer, just the whole filmmaking team really came together to make a really quality product, and I think people are really going to get behind it. It's a Nicholas Sparks novel turned movie, so you already kind of have this built-in audience with him. But it's a love story. It's a romance. I think people just love to fall in love, and they love to go to the movies to fall in love. And, we saw it, and it was a lot of fun.
It seems like the kind of story that almost anybody can kind of relate to, right?
Yeah, and I think that's what's kind of beautiful about Nicholas's writing and what Michael Hoffman, the director, did with the film, is that it's so approachable for everyone. It doesn't speak about worlds away. It's the life that everybody leads on a day-to-day basis. And it not only kind of stresses the falling in love, but also what happens when you haven't seen each other for 21 years and, things are just not as good as they used to be. So I really enjoyed personally kind of that, I hate to say darker side, but yeah, it is a little bit of the darker side of love, the work that goes into having a relationship and how it's just not easy. You have to work in it. And so I think that was probably one of my more favorite parts of the film.
Well, it's definitely a theme that seems going like it's going to resonate with audiences. I mean, everyone can connect to that, the struggles of marriage, the difficulties, and all of that. And, of course, the high school sweetheart thing, I think many people who either married their high school sweetheart or drifted away, there's a lot of those kind of connections that I'm sure Nicholas is able to connect with audiences on.
Sure. I totally agree with you on that one.
And, of course, the big blockbuster. If you don't know much about Divergent, then you probably don't know much about Insurgent, which is the second chapter in a phenomenal teen, young adult novel series. It's got an amazing cast from Shailene Woodley and Theo James, of course, headlined this project, but many, many other great stars are in it. You're working really closely, from what I understand, very closely with Kate Winslet. Can you tell me about at least who you play and what role you have in the film?
I don't want to give too much away, but like you said, it shouldn't be a surprise to people who read the book. I kind of play Kate's second in command, so to speak. So I'm kind of there to help out with whatever she needs. in your quest to take on Tristan's character.
Right. He's a bad guy, folks. If you're keeping notes at home, he's not on the good side of this. So just so you know.
Well, I feel like we were doing the right thing. We're justified in what we're doing. But I am part of what they call the Erudite, which is the faction in the Insurgent Divergent series that kind of the intelligence, the smart ones, and at the end of Divergent, this first one, spoiler alert, the Erudite seize control of the government, so to speak. So the new one, Insurgent, opens where we've just taken control of how they're operating and go from there.
Were you real familiar with the franchise, or was it something you kind of had to do a little catching up on?
I actually had to do a little catching up on because it came out at a time I was kind of working on some things. When Divergent came out, it kind of passed me by on the radar. So I went back and said, wow, this is kind of an all-star cast. I really enjoyed the director, Neil Berger's work. Once I saw kind of what I had missed, I was like, maybe I should go back and watch this. And I did, and I really, really enjoyed it. A lot of people compare it to The Hunger Games, but I think it's got its own thing. It does have the female heroine protagonist, but I really enjoyed the message of this one. It's about self-discovery, finding out who you really are. Again, a universal truth that I think audiences will identify with and have with Divergent.
Well, Insurgent, of course, comes out March 20th. That's 2015. And for those of you that don't know much about it, ask your teenage daughter. I guarantee she knows and has it marked on the calendar. And you'll definitely catch Hunter Burke there as part of that amazing cast with Shailene Woodley and Theo James, Naomi Watts, Maggie Q. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. A great franchise. It's just blooming. I know they got at least another film, at least one more in the works, or actually maybe more than that. So. Another big feature you got coming in 2015, you get to work with Scott Eastwood and Alan Alda.
Yeah, that was cool. I met Scott briefly. My team kind of with For the Longest Ride, which is another Nicholas Sparks novel turned movie. So I got two under my belt, so to speak. But yeah, I met Scott briefly, but I got to work with Jack Houston and Mooney Chaplin. Those were the two guys that I had a chance to work with in the film. And both of those guys, I think it was just announced that Jack is going to do Ben-Hur. Both of those actors are phenomenal, and they've got huge careers ahead of them. It was so exciting to see them kind of at this stage when they're just about to blow up, before anybody really knows who they are.
Oh, tell us a little bit about the film itself. I mean, obviously, you mentioned Sparks, but to give everybody a little heads up on kind of like the general nature of the film.
Sure. The Longest Ride actually is kind of relating to The Best of Me. It takes place in two different time periods. In the present time period, it's about a bull rider, kind of a younger bull rider who's getting back into the game and meets a girl, and it's that story. And in the other storyline that takes place in the 1930s, a young Jewish couple meet and kind of fall in love. And it's about how these two time periods run parallel to each other. Without giving much away about the movie and the book, their lives do kind of cross paths, and a love story unfolds.
Fantastic. That's called The Longest Ride. That opens in 2015. And as I said, Hunter Burke's got a whole bunch of projects lined up. And let me touch on a few of the other things. I wanted to ask you for a quick question here, because you've been in, Olympus Has Fallen, Get On Up, which I actually love. Get On Up, by the way.
Yeah.
$1 Million Arm, and tons of these great roles. Is there any certain person that you were able to meet, or a little word of wisdom that came your way that you're going to hang your hat on from all these different projects you've been able to squeeze together?
Yeah, let's see. I mean, there's a lot of folks I met. I think the coolest one for me was meeting Michael Caine. I did like a bit part in Now You See Me, and Michael Caine was in the scene. Him and Morgan Freeman, actually, which that was incredible on its own. But kind of just watching those two guys spar in the scene, and then speaking with Michael afterwards, because he wrote a book called Acting in Film, which I think is every film actor should have as a Bible. It's great. It really breaks down everything you need to know. But seeing him and seeing how he operates really kind of opened my eyes. And this was fairly early in my acting career, several years ago. And really, it wasn't anything specific. It's just how he kind of conducted himself as a professional and also as an actor that really inspired me. And I've tried to take a lot from him since then.
It's a great story. Thanks for sharing. And Hunter Burke, folks, a ton of stuff. Let me run down the list again. Addicted opens Friday, October 10th. That's tomorrow. Next Friday, The Best of Me, October 17th. So you got two big projects to get out to right away. Support Hunter Burke. You got to pay his rent, man. You got to get out there and got to support the man.
Yes, yes.
And, of course, the big franchise film, that's Insurgent. That opens March 20th, 2015. And also next year we have The Longest Ride and tons of other projects he's got coming. We'll link to some of the information there on Facebook and Twitter and all that, I assume.
Cool. That was
awesome.
Great.
Well, Hunter, thank you again for fitting us into your busy schedule, my friend. And hopefully we can talk again soon.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on.